All right. We reached a part in the Lam Rim where they talk about special qualities of each of the jewels, 3 jewels. This is part of your vow to take refuge by thinking about cool things about the 3 jewels, okay? So here comes a list of 6 cool things. There's many, but here's 6. Number 1, Seni de Gyurpe Kepala means cool things about the 3 jewels just by definition, by the qualities that they have. Sangeni Ngumbar Changchube Seni Chenyinte. Buddhas, the coolest thing about them is that they're Buddhas. Okay, that's what he said, okay. Chetam Jeni, Chetam Jeni, Netsu Kangi Kyama Dipar Jembar Sipa. They see the nature of all things directly. In Tibetan it's called Jemba. Who knows what Jemba means? Jemba means naked. Like, okay, unclothed. Just they see reality, naked reality, okay? It's also used for uncooked vegetables. I don't know why. Okay. Jemba Sikpa. So the word in Tibetan for Buddha is what? Or one of them is Sangye or Changchu. Enlightenment is called Changchu. Then he wants to explain the word Chang, which is B-Y-A-N-G, Byang. Chang Shepa Katun Changwa. Katun means Kandun, or Katun means when monks practice singing out loud the prayers that they're supposed to learn, okay? And we spend, I don't know, an hour or 2 every day memorizing prayers, like the prayer we used for the border prayer. So that's one that my Lama made me memorize. So then it's nice because you have those prayers in your head all the time, and they're just repeating in your head all the time, like Maitreya or Manjushri is talking in your head all day long. So it's nice it's a nice custom to memorize things. In yoga, what's the word for memorize? Swadhyaya. Yeah, it's in the first chapter, and people mistranslate it as self-knowledge or something like that. It doesn't have the word doesn't have anything to do with that. It means to kandun, which means memorize things. You can start with the 6 graces, the 6 food prayers. Those are very holy. Some from Vajrayogini, some from Nagarjuna, some about Tsongkhapa. That's a nice thing. My Lama made me start with little prayers, and then later he would throw 100 pages at me and say, memorize that. And but you can start with something, so you start with those prayers, okay? Katan Jamala, Janwe Tanya. So when you get really good at something, like, I don't know, I'm going to write like you just get used to it. It's called Jang. So Jang means mastered. When the student can recite the prayer quickly, it's called Jang. It's one meaning of Jang. Okay? And the Buddha's understanding is Jang. Okay? So we call them Changchu. Okay, that's one explanation of Jang. Okay? So Jang can mean well practiced. Okay? And Buddha is well practiced at seeing all great knowledges they have. Now Dharma, Cheni Sangye Jumbe Debut Seni Chente. This was one of the meditations you had, and almost the defining feature of the Dharma is that it's the footprint left by a Buddha in this world. Okay? The Dharma is the footprint left by a Buddha in this world. Okay? Jumbe Debu means the fine fruits of their journey here. Okay? For example, when the Buddha turned the wheel of the Dharma the first time, how many times did he turn the wheel? Yeah, 3, and those are really just 3 different periods in his lifetime that he was turning the wheel. And what's interesting is he contradicted himself each time, okay? First time he said everything exists by itself. Second time he said nothing exists by itself. Then somebody asked him, well, first you said everything exists by itself, then you said nothing exists by itself. What do you mean? Then he gave the third turning of the wheel, which is to explain what I really meant and what I didn't really mean. And he wrote a book called What I Really Meant. It's called Sandhi Nirmochana Sutra. And I think it's exciting that we're creating a team with Stanley and Nick for American and Chinese translators to work together and translate a very great commentary on that sutra by Master Yuan Tzu, who was a student of Xuanzang, who spent 17 years in India bringing the books back to China. Okay, so I think it's exciting that we have a plan to translate eight of books of his work, and I think it's cool. The subject of that work is, what did the Buddha really mean? Which of the 3 turning of the wheel was correct and which was not correct? Okay. Why did he teach 3 different things? Yeah, according to the students. Okay. Like if you're giving a talk to a bunch of business people, you can say nothing's really empty. And then when you get to Diamond Mountain and you can say what you really want to say, you can say everything's empty, okay? All right? Then if somebody sees it on the internet, you have to fiddle between the 2. Okay? Chumkor korwana. Ngade samba gyula tong lam sok chirik pa kebashin. The first time the Buddha taught the Dharma in Sarnath, right, in the deer park, we recently had a chance, some of our students had a chance to visit there. And he had 5 students. Who were the 5? Yeah, the mommy tiger and the 4 cubs that he gave his body to in his previous life. When he gave them his body, he said, "You're going to be my first students when I become Buddha." I often do it with McDonald's French fries. I'll go outside with my French fries, which is the only thing I can eat at McDonald's, and I'll throw it to the birds, and I'll say, "If you eat it, you're going to be my student when I become a Buddha." And then they're like, So, so there was a certain presentation he made to those 5, which was designed for them. Okay, the 4 Truths presentation. Later, he did presentations on the 12 links and then emptiness, 2 kinds of emptiness. Okay. By the way, there's a famous description of how he repeated the 4 Truths 3 times, and during the first teaching to those 5 people, and each of them had a different reaction. And so I thought you might like to hear it. Okay. So I went and got it from the Abhidharma. When the Buddha repeated the 4 Truths 3 times, Kunche Kaudinya, so there's one student named Kaudinya, and you're going to meet him in the Kamalashila teaching, okay? If I'm not mistaken, he was the guy cutting off the Buddha's fingers in his past life. Okay, but we'll check. Okay, so Kaudinya is the smartest one of the 5. Maybe he's the mommy tiger, I don't know. Kaudinya Tonglam. the first time the Buddha taught the Four Truths, he achieved the direct perception of emptiness. Okay? Shenshi, Gila, Jorlam, and the other four got to the second path, which is called the path of preparation. They understood the pen. One guy saw emptiness directly, 4 people got the pen. Okay, got it? Depanyi kunshao Kaldinya Gyula Gomlam. The second time he repeated the Four Truths, Kaldinya reached path of habituation, the fourth path. Okay? Gomlam da Shenshi Gyula Tonlamke. And the other 4 had the direct perception of emptiness. Okay? So by the end of the second repetition of the Four Truths, all 5 had seen emptiness directly. Those were the good old days. Okay. Depa Sumbe Tse Kunshe Kaldinya Gyula Miloblam, and on the third repetition, Kaldinya reached Arhat. He reached the 5th path, which is the path of no more learning. And Shenshi Gyula Gomlam, and the other 4 reached the path of habituation, the 4th path. Okay. Okay. Now let's go back to the Lam Rim. We have 3 minutes. They always talk about the reaction of the 5, and I always forget what it was, so now you can remind me. Okay? Gendo Gichida Dubitseni Cheno. What's the kind of the defining quality of the Sangha? So far we have a person who knows all things, and then their footprint in the world is the Dharma jewel, and then the people who practice that Dharma jewel are called Sangha jewel. That's the definition of Sangha. They practice the Dharma jewel. Okay? That's their job. Chinleki Kyepani, then there's a distinction of Chinle. Chinle we talked about the other day, it means the deeds of a Buddha, holy deeds. Okay? Sangye ni lung bokpate. A Buddha's job is to teach. Okay? Why? Why do they have to teach? We talked about it. Yeah, it's some meditation we had, number 2. Yeah, that's the only way they can help us, really. Okay? They can't move seeds into our mind. Okay? They have to teach us, and we have to make our own seeds. Okay? That's a tenet of Buddhism. That's a basic fact of Buddhism. You have to do the work yourself. Lama can teach you, then you have to do the work yourself. Okay? Because you make karma by doing things and watching yourself do them. Okay? That's how you plant a seed. So the Buddha's job is to teach. The Dharma's job is to help you get rid of problems that you have. Okay? Gendun ni chen nyam sulang. I like this because he describes the job of the Sangha as chen nyam sulang be. And it means they should set an example for other people. That's the job of the Sangha. Okay? And we spent a lot of time this year trying to figure out our teacher training program in Sedona. And you're welcome to come, by the way. We have a 3 times a year DCI teacher training program. We're going to add an ACI teacher training program if anyone's interested. And we're waiting to ask people. But I think what we've realized is that the best way to train someone to be a teacher is to convince them to be a good example for other people. It's not so much what you say. You can talk and talk and talk. Any parent knows the kids won't follow what you say. The kids will copy exactly what you do. And it's dismaying for people like me who teach for many years to see people follow exactly what we do instead of what we told them to do. Okay? Then the teacher realizes, oh, I have to practice what I preach, right? I have to be a good example. The job of the Sangha is to be an example, okay? And that's here. So that's DCI teacher training core principle, that the way to be a teacher is to be an example. DCI teaches how to be successful. We advertise inner and outer success. Inside, you're supposed to be clean and peaceful and, well-mannered. And then outside, you're supposed to be financially independent and have good health and sweet relationships with people. And so when people ask us, what's the most important thing I have to know to be a teacher? We say, be those things. You're teaching a method of success. If you're not successful, it looks suspicious. Maybe the system doesn't work, okay? Or maybe you shouldn't be teaching because you haven't done it yet, okay? All right. When other people see a person who has reached inner and outer success, here's where it comes from, okay? De la jukpa, then they will follow you, they will copy you, okay? If you got a very, very beautiful partner by visiting old ladies at the nursing home, maybe you went with the Singapore group, then obviously other people will try. You see, other people will copy you, all right? Shengi de tonga, delan jupa songyamdu, rok chepa, and in that way, you can really help people. Rok chepa means help people. So really, he says, you can define the Sangha as people who enjoy doing nice things for other people. Okay? Okay? Chinle. That's what the Sangha's job is to do nice things for other people and set an example. Okay? That's all we have time for right now. But how about a question when we start again? Because we're a little bit tight today.